Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Mackenzie, and this year I am teaching 3rd grade in Northern California. In today's video, I am sharing 10 greetings for morning meeting. So in my classroom, we use the responsive classroom structure for morning meeting, where we start out with a greeting, a share, an activity, and then read our morning message all together. So I love morning meeting. I just think it's such a great way for students to build community with each other and connect with one another in the morning. It's a chance to actually greet their classmates, say each other's names, and really start the day on a positive note. So in today's video, I am focusing on the greeting portion of morning meeting. So if you have any favorite greetings that you do with your students, please feel free to drop them in the comments. They may help a lot of other teachers out. If you do enjoy this type of content, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up. That's one of the best ways for these videos to reach even more teachers. Now let's go ahead and jump right into it. So when I am first introducing greetings to my students on the very first day of school, we talk about what makes a good greeting. So we always talk about how we want to make sure that we are looking at the student that we are greeting, so practicing eye contact, having our body face the student that we are greeting, and we also want to make sure that we are saying our classmate's name correctly and saying hello or good morning with kindness. So that first week of school, we really talk a lot about what makes for a good greeting. So I do recommend going over those greeting expectations with your students as you introduce more greetings to them. So the first greeting is the class handshake. This is such a fun one to do with your students at the beginning of the year because you're really having them create their own handshake for the class. And so this is a great one to build community. I usually have students share out different ideas of what we should include in our class handshake. So maybe a fist bump or an elbow tap or a foot tap, and they share out lots of different ideas. And then as a class, we pick about 3 or 4 different movements to be in our class handshake. So for example, this year our class handshake is spinning in a circle one time, giving a fist bump, and then a foot tap. So the first time we're doing our class handshake, we're all standing up, and then students take turns one by one greeting the person next to them with our class handshake. This is such a fun one to build community because it is something special for just your classroom. The ball toss greeting does require that you have some type of ball that you can pass to your students. So for this one, all students are standing up, and then the person that starts is going to say good morning to another student, toss them the ball. After they've been greeted, they're going to sit down. I really like having students start standing up and then sitting down after they've been greeted. So that's really easy for our students to see who still needs to be greeted in the circle. So it keeps on going until everyone in the class has been greeted. The around the world greeting is one where students are going to take turns greeting the class with a different language. So for this one, I usually write about 5 different ways to say good morning in different languages on the board. I then have students share out other ways to say good morning that they know in different languages. So it might be a language that they speak at home or a language that they've learned in another way. This gives students a chance to celebrate other cultures that are represented in the classroom and learn a new language. Students will then take turns greeting the class in a language that they choose. So for example, if the first student greets the class in Spanish, then the whole class is going to greet that student in Spanish, and then the next student's going to choose a language, greet the class, and then they'll greet them back. So students take turns around the circle greeting the class in whatever language they want. The checking in greeting is really great to practice more social skills for your students. So for this greeting, students take turns greeting each student, but then also asking them, how are you today? And so we're practicing that social skill of greeting somebody and checking in on how they're feeling. So before we do this greeting, we do go over different emotions that you might feel throughout the day or when you come to school. So we talk about as a class how sometimes you come to school and you feel happy and excited, but sometimes you might feel worried or nervous or maybe tired because you didn't get a lot of sleep last night. So we make a list of emotions that they may use when they are sharing how they're feeling that day. So especially the first time when I do this greeting, I have the whole class listen to each pair of students greet each other. So the first person will turn and talk. So I might say, good morning, Alex. How are you today? And then Alex would say,
Good morning, Mackenzie. I'm feeling excited.
and then Alex would turn and greet and ask for the next student. I really love this greeting because it gives students a chance to see how their classmates are feeling. It also gives students a chance to practice empathy and be aware of how their classmates are doing that day. And then we can discuss as a class family of what we can do to support each other if maybe we do have a classmate that's feeling a little sad that day. Once students become more familiar with the checking and greeting, then some mornings I will start the greeting with telling students to go greet and check in with 3 different students in your class. And then they have to find 3 classmates and ask them how they're doing that day. So these next few greetings are a little more high energy. They are different chants to do with your students, but you're still recognizing and greeting every student in the class. So the first one is the say your name chant. So as a whole class, we are all clapping to the beat. So we say your name, and when you do, we will say it back to you. And then the student says their name, Mackenzie. And then we all say, Mackenzie, Mackenzie, yay! And then we jump to the next person. So we are doing that chant 23 times since I have 23 students. And so it does take time, but students love it. They love when the spotlight's on them, and it's really special hearing their name from their classmates. The appreciate greeting is also similar. So as a whole class, we're clapping to the beat and we say, 2, 4, 6, 8, who do we appreciate? Mackenzie, Mackenzie, hooray! And then we jump to the next student. And so we're going in order all the way around the circle until every student has been appreciated. The hit the floor greeting always ends up being a class favorite. So for this one, all students are standing up in a circle and we say 1, 2, 3, 4, come on, student's name, hit the floor. We're so glad you're here today. Hooray, hooray, hooray. So for this one, when you say the student's name, whose turn it is, then they have to leave the circle and they're going to choose a movement to do around the circle. So they might skip in the circle, walk, run, do a little dance. They just need to make it back to their spot by the last hooray in the chant. And so for the first time doing this, students might feel a little shy as they're going around the circle. Maybe go first as the teacher to model it by skipping around in the circle and making it back to your spot. But really by the end of the school year, this always ends up being a favorite of my students. An alternative to being in a circle during the hit the floor greeting is that students stand in 2 rows facing each other. Then when it's the student's turn, they're going to go through the little aisle that's been made, and it will be kind of like doing a little soccer tunnel that they're running through. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, come on Mackenzie, hit the floor. And then I would leave, I would walk down as everyone's cheering, saying, we're so glad you're here today, hooray, hooray, hooray. And so it's a really fun way to celebrate and greet each student in the class. The next one is great for the primary grades because it is a play on the book Brown Bear, What Do You See? So this is the brown bear greeting. And instead of saying brown bear, you're going to say the student's name and ask them who they see. So for this greeting, students are all going to be sitting in a circle and everybody is going to start out waving. And so one student's going to start and the whole class is going to say the chant. So say it is my turn to start. So everyone's going to say, Mackenzie, Mackenzie, who do you see? And then I'm going to say, I see Ryan waving at me. And so now the greeting has been passed to the student Ryan. And then everyone's going to say, Ryan, Ryan, who do you see? And then Ryan's going to say, I see Diego waving at me. So once they've been greeted, they no longer wave, and that's another good visual cue for students to know who has not been greeted yet in the circle. The next one is called I Can Do This. So for this one, students are going to take turns doing an action that the students need to copy. So students are going to be standing up in the circle, and if I'm starting, I'm going to say, my name is Mackenzie and I can do this, and I'll march in place. And then everybody at the same time in the class is going to say, good morning, Mackenzie, she can do this. And then they're going to copy that motion. And then it's going to go to the next person in the circle. The last greeting is called the popcorn greeting. So for this greeting, all of the students are going to be sitting in a circle and then they're going to count off. So the student that starts is going to say 1, the next student 2, 3, and then the fourth student, instead of saying 4, they're going to say pop and they're going to stand up. So then that student is going to say, good morning, class, and the whole class is going to greet them. So if that was me, they would say, good morning, Mackenzie, and I'm going to stay standing. And then it's going to continue in the circle. 1, 2, 3, pop. And then another student's going to say, good morning, class, and then the class is going to greet that student. So they keep going around. If you're seated, they're going to keep counting off until everybody has popped like popcorn. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video helpful and it gave you some new ideas for morning meeting greetings. I would love to hear what some of your favorites are, so please be sure to drop it in the comments. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for all my newest teacher tips, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.